It's very important because when you start sketching the cubic graph, you need to know the x-intercepts. If you can't solve a cubic equation, you are going to have problems sketching the cubic graph. Okay? And the cubic graph is always tested. It's there in your June examination. There is no way that you can run away from it. So, as I go over this question and the second one, make sure you pay attention carefully. All right. So first thing here, we cannot factorize it directly. Some cubic equations can be factorized without the method which I showed you yesterday, right? So always remember that a cubic polynomial is a product of a linear polynomial and a quadratic polynomial. The good thing is you have done solving quadratic equations. So first thing, we use the factor theorem to determine the first solution or the first factor. So I'll say let f of x be equal to x cubed minus 5x minus 2x squared plus 6. Then we do trial and error to determine the first factor or the first solution. So we start with x equal to 1. Okay, so if I simplify this, I'll get 1 minus 5, and then minus 2 plus 6. And if I simplify, I'll get minus 4 minus 2, that will give me minus 6 plus 6, I'll get 0. Okay, so for this case here, it's going to be very easy. Okay, it's not always that when you substitute x equal to 1, you get a remainder of 0. Sometimes you may not get a remainder which is 0. So you have to try negative 1. If you don't get 0, you try positive 2, negative 2. In most cases, by the time you get to x equal to 3, you must get a remainder which is equal to 0. So what this means is x is equal to 1. Therefore, our factor, our first factor is going to be x minus 1. Okay, that's our first factor. Already our first solution is x equal to 1. So we are left with two solutions to determine. Okay, now to determine the last two solutions, we use the fact that a cubic polynomial can be written as a product of a linear polynomial. This x minus 1 is linear. Okay, it has got a sister or a brother which is quadratic, such that if you multiply this x minus 1 by the quadratic, you will get that polynomial. Okay, now to get the quadratic polynomial, there are three methods. Okay, I'm only going to teach you one, which is synthetic division. There are three methods. There is also long division, which I used to teach in the past, right? And there's also an inspection method, which, well, I don't know whether I should show you, but maybe, I don't know. But synthetic division is the, huh? Well, if I compare all the three methods, I think this one is much easier. Okay, this is much easier. All right. Okay, so this x equal to 1, we are going to do long division. Sorry, synthetic division rather. So we look at the coefficients of the polynomial. The coefficient of the first term, that's a 1. The second term, that's negative 5. The third term, that's minus 2. The last term, that's a constant 6. All right? Then we draw a horizontal line. First thing, we draw the coefficient of the first term, that 1 there. Right? What that means is our quadratic polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c is going to have a coefficient which is the value of a, which is equal to 1. So we need to determine the value of b and the value of c.
So, do we have to worry about the order of what counts minus 5x minus 2?
Yes, the order when you're writing it is very important. Follow the order in the original expression.
So does it have to do delta minus 2?
No. All right. So from here, pay attention. At the back, can you pay attention? Both I had some of you saying I couldn't do it because I couldn't understand. Now this is your opportunity for you to pay attention so that you can see how I'm doing it. So we multiply this. I'm going to use different colors. Multiply this by the 1. The answer that you get, you write below the minus part. So 1 times 1 gives me a 1. Right? Then we add the minus 5 and the 1. We will get negative 4. Right? Then we multiply this minus 4 by that minus, the 1 by the minus 4. We are going to get minus 4. Right? Then we add minus 2 and minus 2. We get minus 6. Okay? We get minus 6. Now, always, whatever last number you get here, if you add it to this one, you must get a 6. So, minus 6 times 1, so we multiply those two, right? Then we are going to get minus 6, and then you add the 2, get 6. So what this means is, that this 1, that's our A, the minus 4, that's our B, the minus 6, that's our constant for the quadratic polynomial. Okay? Please take note, it's for the quadratic polynomial. Yes? Yes. You see, okay, whichever way. Generally, if you are in metric, you're supposed to use a pen. For anything you write, you're supposed to use a pen. Let your hand be used to writing with, let your hand get used to writing with a pen, not a pencil. Right? Are you following that? Yes. Right? Then, so what this means is that polynomial, okay, is going to be equal to x minus 1 times a is 1, so that will be x squared, b is 4, that will be minus 4x, c is minus 6, that will be equal to 0. Now, it's important for you to know that a cubic polynomial can be written as a product of a linear polynomial and a quadratic. So, I'm already smiling there because I can factorize this trinomial. Okay? I can factorize it. Okay? So if I want to factorize that, okay, which two factors, okay, how did you factorize it? Huh? Now, if you look at it, it cannot be factorized. So you have to use the quadratic formula. Okay? Hey, can you stop talking and pay attention? So let's go to the next page and use the quadratic formula. Let's see. Where? Okay, minus 5 plus 1. Wait. Drop the 1. Drop the 1. Then you multiply these two. Got 1. Now minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4. Minus 4 times 5 is minus 4. Can you stop talking? Then minus 2 plus minus 4, you get minus. Where is the mistake? Because I got that. Yes. It's not in the correct form of x cubed minus 2x squared minus 1%. That's what not x minus 5x minus 2x squared. You have to put it there in the order. You have to put it next to it. But I won't make it. Otherwise, you won't get the answer. It's like x So it's supposed to be in the correct format. It's supposed to be x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus. That's what. Okay, let's see what you're doing. Oh. No. Okay, sorry for that. Okay. Okay, sorry. My apologies for that. Alright, I need to rearrange my cubic polynomial. Okay, so this becomes f of x. Well, it doesn't affect the first value. So that will be x cubed minus 2x squared. I'm sorry for that, maybe it was a misunderstanding. Now, the order, listen, can I have your attention? Can I have your attention? Please make sure your cubic polynomial is in standard form. And the standard form is ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus c, okay, equal to 0. That's the standard form. So this polynomial here, it's not in standard form, okay? It's not in standard form, all right? So we need to swap the minus 5x and the 2x squared, and that will have an impact now on the solution. So I'm going to redo it. So that will be 1, then minus 2, then minus 5, and then 6. So we drop down the 1, multiply the 2, we get 1, then you add those 2, you get minus 1, then minus 1 times 1, that will give us minus 1. Minus 5 plus minus 1, you get minus 6. Then you multiply minus 6 by 1, get minus 6, then you get a 0 there. Okay, now it's correct. Thank you for that. So that's A, this is B, that's C. Okay, please take note of the mistake. Hey, can you stop that, please? Stop that. Okay? Please take note of the mistake which I made here. It's very important that your cubic polynomial is in standard form. Is that clear? And the standard form is ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. Okay? Plus d. Right, so let's carry on. Let's carry on. So now we can smile. So this will be x minus 1 times x squared minus x minus 6. Now it can be factorized. Right, so if I factorize this, I'll get x minus 1 times x minus 3 times x plus 2 equal to 0. Therefore, our three solutions are going to be x equal to 1 or x equal to negative 2 and x equal to 3. Okay. Then we are done. All right. No, it's right, you have to show. You have to show the way. All right. Listen, I just wanted to show you that some calculators can solve cubic equations. Okay? Some calculators. I'm not sure whether you got those this calculator. Yes. All right. So I'm going to show you with the silver calculator. Okay. Can you pay attention? Pay attention. So if you go to mod, right? Listen. You go to mod depending on your calculator. If you have got this one here, I'm sorry, this one here, right? You won't be able to solve the cubic equation with that calculator. Then you go to number 5, right? Then number 4, that's a cubic equation. So you click on number 4, then you go back to your original equation. Make sure it's in standard form. Okay? So we use the green one. Okay, but let me just move this a little bit. So we are going to go back to our standard form, which is f of x equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Right? The value of a is a 1. So I'll put 1 there. Then press equals. Then b is minus 2. Right? C is minus 5. And D is positive 6. Alright? Then you press equals. We already got one of our answers by using synthetic division as x equal to -2. Please be aware that the calculator is programmed to give you from the minimum. It starts with the minimum. Then we have got x equal to 3, which is what we got as well. And then we have got x equal to 1. So the order of the calculator starts with -2, then 3, then 1. But still it's fine. The order is not important. What's important is that you get all the 3 solutions. Right? So you can use your calculator to verify your answers quickly. Alright? You can use your answers to verify. Plus, when you are sketching, sorry, focus, can you put yourself on away? You see that? Alright. You can use your calculator to verify your answers. Is that clear to everyone? Right? So let's carry on to the next one. Now, the second question, right? Please note that it's not always that when you are given a cubic polynomial, you might need to use the factor theorem. It's not always. Sometimes you can factorize the polynomial by using common factors, by factorizing a trinomial. Like in this case here, you don't need to use the factor theorem here. Right? So quickly, I'll take out a common factor. It will be what? 5x. You take out 5x, then we'll get 2x squared plus x minus 3. Alright? Are you following that? Right? It's not always. You must inspect the question and see whether it can be factorized or not. This one can be factorized. First by a common factor, so I took out a common factor. Then we have a trinomial inside the bracket. Right? The trinomial can be factorized. Please allow me to just use the basic method of factorization. If I multiply 2 and minus 3, I'll get minus 6. 2 factors of minus 6 that add up to 1 are going to be 3 and negative 2. So I can write this as 2x squared plus 3x, okay, minus 2x minus 3. Okay, please remember it's an equation. And then we'll get 5x times 2x. Okay, well, let me take out a common factor there. Let me take out a common factor there. Okay, so I'm going to introduce a square bracket. Do you know this method of factorizing trinomial? Right, so this will be x times 2x plus 3. Then we take out minus 1, we get 2x plus 3. And then that will be equal to 0. Okay, listen. Please, this lesson is not to teach you how to factorize trinomials. Alright, okay. Because, pay attention. Because of her body language, the way she looked at me, I'm gonna. Alright. Listen, I'm just playing with you. Come on, don't be so serious. Okay. Alright. Can I have your attention? Can I have your attention? Alright. If you look at that trinomial, can you pay attention? Alright, the coefficient of x squared is 2. The constant term is negative 3. If you multiply the 2, you get what? Minus 6. I hope you can remember that when you are factorizing a trinomial, the middle term is not very important because it comes out automatically. So you need to determine the correct factors of the first term and the third term. So I can work with the coefficients. So 2 times minus 3 give me what? Minus 6. Then, which 2 factors of minus 6 are such that if you add them, they give you a positive 1, which is the coefficient of that middle term? Which 2 factors of minus 6 add up to 1? It's positive 3 and negative 2. So what I did was I broke this x up into 3x minus 2x. using those two factors of minus 6 that add up to 1. I'm sure you've heard this method. Alright? Then, I'm sure you can see that we now have 4 terms. Pay attention. Then, the first 2 terms identify a common factor, which is going to be x. Right? The last 2 terms. Now, since I created this binomial factor 2x plus 3, I need to create it here as well. So we have to check out minus 1. And we end up having 2x plus 3. Then we factorize by a common factor, 2x plus 3 times x minus 1. So it's a combination of factorization by a common factor and by grouping. Okay? Right. It's very difficult to teach grade 12s how to factorize at this stage. That's why I don't want to talk about factorization at this stage. Alright? So 5x times 2x plus 3 times x minus 1. Now, so someone might ask me, where did I get the minus 1? The minus 1 is a hidden one which is there. Okay? Generally, we don't write it down, but if you think you can get confused, then you can write it down. So this is equal to 0. Right, then I'll get the answer that you got. So 5x equal to 0, or 2x plus 3 equal to 0, or x minus 1 equal to 0. So the first solution is x equal to 0. The second one it will be x equal to minus 3 over 2. The third one it will be x equal to 1. Okay, if you did the question, that's what you should have got. All right. Please be aware that it's not always that when you get a cubic polynomial, you have to use the factor theorem to determine the first factor. Sometimes you can factorize by a common factor and by your knowledge of factorization of trinomials. No. You get full marks for whichever method you use. Okay? You get full marks. You factorize like how I did, you get full marks. If you use the factor theorem, you also get full marks. Okay, Jan, I don't get that. Can you come and talk to me one-on-one some other time? Right? Okay, let me carry on. Right. Now that I have done